Good evening, Kinderlach. Shavua Tov. Tonight we're going to explore a story, a beautiful story, that connects a lot of very great people. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe of Lubavitch, as well, the first and the last Rebbe's of Lubavitch, as well as a very special rabbi from Elizabeth known as Rav Teitz. Rav Teitz lived in Elizabeth, and he was a very, very big Talmid Chacham, and he was known to be a major, major player in building the Jewish community of Elizabeth. One of the very, very special things that he did was that he used to travel to Russia. He would put his life in danger. This was before it was allowed to have religious practice there, and he would go, and he would do whatever he could to help create more opportunities for the Jews there to do mitzvahs. And so he became very connected to the Chabad Lubavitch community in America, because Chabad was always very connected to Russian Jewry. They were there. It used to be an underground Torah center, basically. The Rebbe Rayatz, the sixth Lubavitcher Rebbe, also known as the Friedrich Rebbe, Rav Yosef Yitzchak, had this amazing underground network of mechanchim who would teach Torah to children, even against the very scary laws in Russia where the Jews couldn't learn Torah. And it was Moser Nefesh for them. He would risk his life for them. And so Rabbi Teitz, when he would go on his trips to Russia, he got close to the Chabad community in America, and he used to prepare packages that he would take and he'd bring with him to Russia to deliver to Jews there. But he couldn't do it in a simple way, because if he did, he'd get caught. So some of the things they would do is, like, let's say they wanted to have ink for writing a Torah or writing tefillin or a mezuzah. So they would take the ink or the DO and they would put it inside nail polish bottles. Or for tefillin straps, they would wrap them around like a suitcase or things like that. As if it's straps for that, and he would smuggle them in. One time, a Lubavitch Chabadsker brought, when he was bringing this package, said the Rebbe wanted you to bring this special sefer known as the Tanya, which was written by the first Lubavitcher Rebbe. It's known to be very, very holy. The way that it's taught in the Chabad circles is that the Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Rebbe, said that the Alter Rebbe put him, if you want to know where the Alter Rebbe is, he's in the Tanya. Almost like he poured his soul, his neshama, into the holy words of the Tanya. And so the Rebbe wanted him to bring this book to Russia. And Rabbi Teitz was very concerned. He said, look, you have, if you think about it, if you're smuggling things in, so certain things you could smuggle. You smuggle some ink in, you smuggle these straps. But to take a Jewish book, a Torah book, especially the Tanya, the Russians probably even knew what it was. If they were so anti-Torah and their main enemies were Chabad, because Chabad were fighting for Jews to learn Torah there. And you can imagine that it wasn't so simple. It was quite dangerous. They see the book and you're bringing Torah into Russia, we're going to arrest you. But he also had an inkling, if the Lubavitcher Rebbe said he should do it, it's probably a good idea. And then the Chassid said another thing. He said, and the Rebbe wants you to bring it back to him when you come back. And he's like, are you crazy? You want me to bring it there and not even for the Russian Jews to keep? You want me to smuggle it in just to smuggle it out again? But again, he understood that the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Nachman Mendel Schneerson, was a very great tzadik. And if he was telling him to do it, it was probably a good idea to listen. So he brought it with him, and he gets on an airplane, and he flies to Russia. And when he's there, he's in a dangerous area, and all of a sudden a car pulls up. And he gets scared, and two men jump out and pull him in, yank him into the car. And he thinks he's going to die. He thinks that he's been discovered, and that this is it. And all of a sudden, the men in the car say what was known as the Jewish code back then. I think it was Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin. It was Hebrew letters, and it was part of the Jewish underground. And so he understood that these were actually Jews. And he felt a lot better, obviously. And they said, we heard that you work with Chabad, with Lubavitch, and that you'd be coming. And we have a job for you. We have a very important question for you to ask. They each had an idea of going to Israel, an opportunity to possibly go, and to leave Russia. And at the same time, they didn't know if they could leave, if it was a good idea, if their jobs in Russia or what they were doing there was too important. And they wanted to know what the Lubavitcher Rebbe thought. And he said to Rav Teitz, can you bring the question to him when you go back to America? And Rav Teitz was very impressed with this. Could you imagine? They're risking their life just to ask a question and to get the Rebbe's guidance. He said, of course. He said, it happens to be, I actually have a book that the Rebbe sent with me, a Sefer Tanya. And the two Hasidim were so excited. They were like amazed. And one of them said, can I touch it? Can I please touch it? And the other one was an older Hasid, and he's like, I don't even know if I should touch it. I didn't get a chance to go to the mikveh today. It's such a holy book. And he said, of course. And Rav Teitz handed the book to the first Hasid. And he's looking through it, and all of a sudden he notices one of the pages is folded. And he looks at the top of the page, and the words at the top of the page say, and he shouldn't wait even a second. He should jump and grab onto the mitzvah immediately in case he loses the opportunity. And he was amazed. He felt like the Rebbe was sending him a message. Right? It happens to be the one page that he turned to that with the page folded was answering the question, should I go to Israel? And he said, yeah, you go right away. And the second Chassid who was scared to touch the Tanya said, yeah, let me look at it too. There's obviously something going on here. And he turns the pages, and he finds another page that's folded, a second one. And this page at the top said he should go to the land of Israel. A book, a Sefer Tanya was discussing. He said, and the man should go to the land of Israel. And the two of them felt like, we have our answer from our Rebbe. It was like such hashgacha pratis. It was like, how could it be? And they were so connected to the Sefer, and all of a sudden it was telling them to go to Israel. Wow. When Rabbi Teitz was amazed, obviously like in wonder, what's going on? This is crazy. And when he went back to America, Rabbi Teitz, was a little bit nervous, but of course he went and he visited the Lubavitcher Rebbe again. And he handed him the Tanya. The Rebbe said, thank you. How was your trip? It was very good. Did anyone get to see my Tanya? Yes. Yes, they did. And did they find the folds in the pages that I left for them? Yes, they did. And Rabbi Teitz was amazed. It was like he knew that these Hasidim were coming to him with a question, and he was already sending them the answer. And he was just, Rabbi Teitz was a very holy Jew, but he wasn't a Chassid. And that wasn't usually the way he operated. And to see this incredible connection the Hasidim have with the Alter Rebbe, with the current Rebbe, with all these tzadikim, and to realize how special they are, and their emunah and their faith in Hashem, and the hashgacha pratis that can happen in these types of stories, Hashem's hand, and the shlichus and the mission, everything about it was just an incredible thing. And what I ask you to think about and take away is you should know that every Jew has such a deep connection with the Torah, with the mitzvahs, and sometimes things seem to us as impossible, but you should know that when you're connected to the Torah, anything's possible. Hashem runs the world. And you tap into Hashem and watch, and He guides us. So many nisim, so many miracles. Baruch Hashem. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my story tonight, and hope to see you soon.